Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel Revealing Concepts. In today's class, we would be learning how to find the solution of a quadratic equation by completing square method. So we would be solving problems or finding solutions of the equation using this step-by-step approach. So we would be learning the steps while solving the problem itself. So let us start. The question remains the same. We are supposed to solve this quadratic equation. That is, we are supposed to get the values for x. Now here the first step says that we are supposed to make the coefficient of x square as 1. What is the significance of this name? That is, this particular method is called as completing square method. Why it is called so? That you would understand once we have done one problem. So again, step 1 says that you are supposed to make the coefficient of x square as 1. So you are supposed to see whether your equation first is in the standard format or not. If it is not in the standard format, make it in the standard format and then see whether the coefficient of x square is 1 or not. If it is already 1, then you don't have to do step number 1, which says that अगर वो उसका coefficient 1 नहीं है, then you are supposed to divide the entire equation, basically both sides of the equation, by the coefficient of the x square, so that the coefficient of the x square becomes 1. Meaning, let's say you have an equation 5x square plus 2x plus 3 equals to 0. Here if you see, the coefficient of x square is not 1, and that is why you're supposed to divide the equation with the coefficient of x square. Meaning what you would do is, you would divide the entire equation with 5. Now, we all know that, this is an addition and you have single denominator. So, each term ke paas your denominator jayega. That is why we would have 5x square 5x upon 5 plus 2x upon 5 plus 3 upon 5 equals to 0. Now here the numerator and the denominator gets cancelled and the resultant equation that we get is x square plus 2x upon 5 plus 3 upon 5 equals to 0. So here if you see, the agenda of step number 1 is to make the coefficient of x square as 1. Now here in both the equations, fortunately, the coefficient of x square is 1, so we don't have to perform step number 1. We will directly move on to step number 2. But if at all the coefficient is not equal to 1, then you are supposed to follow step number 1. Now, step number 2 says that you are supposed to take the constant term on the right hand side of the equation. So, you would write, by completing square method, this statement is written in order to indicate that you are following the completing square method to solve the given equation. So we would shift minus 20 on the other side, that is on the right hand side. So if minus 20 gets shifted on the right hand side, it becomes plus 20. This is your step number 2. Step number 3 is, you are supposed to make certain modifications in the resultant equation. Now what are the modifications? There is one number that you are supposed to add on both the sides of the equation. And how would you get that number? You are supposed to first calculate what is half into coefficient of x the whole square. So this calculation is supposed to be done on the rough side of your page. So that is, you're going to multiply half with the coefficient of x. Here the coefficient of x along with its sign. So it is 1 and you're supposed to take iska square. So that is 1 upon 2 the whole square, which is 1 upon 4. Once you have got this number, you are supposed to add 1 upon 4 on both the sides. That is why you would directly say that adding 1 by 4 on both sides of the equation. So we get x square plus x plus 1 upon 4 equals to 20 plus 1 upon 4. Now let us first simplify the right hand side of the equation. Let the left hand side be as it is, which is equal to 20 into 4 is 80 plus 1 upon 4, which is x square plus x plus 1 by 4 equals to 81 upon 4. Now, You're done with step number 3. Your step number 4 is use a plus b the whole square or a minus b the whole square on the left hand side. Step number 3 में our focus was basically on doing the calculation that was there on the right hand side. Now step number 4, you're going to only focus on the left hand side, and you're supposed to see whether which of these two formulas is applicable, either a plus 1 the whole square or a minus 1 the whole square. In दोनों में से कोई एक formula would be applicable on the left hand side. So here if you see you're the main point is that you're supposed to see what would be the value of a and what would be the value of b, because this is an expansion of a plus b the whole square or a minus b the whole square. Now first of all, how would you decide that this is an expansion for the addition identity or for the subtraction identity? It is pretty easy. It depends upon the sign. Since all the signs between the terms are plus or addition only, that is why this is the formula, or this is the identity corresponding to a plus b the whole square. Now our main task is to find the value of a and b. It is easy here. If you see, a would be x, because x का square बोला है, सबसे पहला वाला term would be a square, and you get the last term as b square. So we all know that 1 upon 4 can be written as 1 upon 2 the whole square. You have to represent this in terms of square only. So can we write this as x square plus x plus 1 upon 2 the whole square equals to 81 upon 4. So here our b is, in that case it is 1 by 2. Now if I try to find the expansion of x plus 1 by 2 the whole square, let us see whether we are getting this or not. This is just for your understanding. You are not supposed to write this in exam. So according to the formula, we get x square plus 2a into b, which is x into 1 by 2 plus b square, that is 1 upon 2 the whole square. X square remains as it is. 2 in the numerator and denominator gets cancelled, so our middle term becomes x, and 1 by 2 the whole square is 1 by 4. So here if you see, the expansion of x plus 1 upon 2 the whole square is x square plus x plus 1 upon 4, which we have got on the right hand side. So that is why this particular expression can be written as x plus 1 upon 2 the whole square, which is equal to 81 upon 4. Now this is the step which actually tells you why this method is called as a completing square method, because here what you do is you try to actually convert the left hand side into a form where you get a proper square. So here if you see, you get the addition identity which is of the square form. So we have x plus 1 the whole square, and that is how we have converted the left hand side, which was not a complete square, into something which is a complete square. Now that we have got the complete square on the left hand side, what we are supposed to do is, as per step number 5, it says that we are supposed to take the square root and find the value of x. Our main aim is to find the value of x, but x is enclosed inside this square. In order to remove the square, we are supposed to take the square root. So here the next step says taking square roots on both the sides. On both sides. So if we take square root on both the sides, your square and square root gets cancelled on the left hand side, so we get x plus 1 by 2, and on the right hand side it would be plus and minus under root of 81 upon 4. So we get x के two values. We have x plus 1 by 2 as plus under root of 81 by 4, and or we have x plus 1 by 2 as minus under root of 81 by 4. Now we'll be solving it over here. So we get x plus 1 by 2. We know that 81 is square of 9 and 4 is square of 2, or you get x plus 1 by 2 as minus 9 by 2. Now this is very easy because your equation is now converted into a linear equation. You just have to shift 1 by 2 on the other side, isolate the value of x. So 9 by 2 minus 1 by 2, which is 9 minus 1 is 8 by 2, which is 4. So the first solution is x equals to 4. Likewise, again when you shift 1 by 2 on the other side, you get minus 9 by 2 minus 1 by 2. So minus and minus is add and give a minus sign. So we get minus 10 by 2, which is equal to minus 5. So the other solution is x equals to minus 5. So we have got the two solutions or the values of x for the first equation, which is x equals to 4 and x equals to minus 5. Likewise, we are going to solve the second problem. Now I would be solving and simultaneously telling you the steps. So let's start. Here the question says x square plus 2x minus 5 equals to 0. Again, the coefficient of x square here is 1. So we can skip step number 1. Let's move on to step number 2. Before that, let's mention by completing square method, step number 2 is take constant term on the right hand side. So we get x square plus 2x equals to 5. Minus 5 उधर जाके plus 5 हो गया. Now that we have got x square plus 2x equals to 5, step number 3 is getting the term which we are supposed to add on both the sides, which is half into coefficient of x, in this case is 2, the whole square. So that is equal to 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So we get 1 ka square, which is 1. So now we are going to add 1 on both the sides. So mention that adding 1 on both sides of the equation. So we get x square plus 2x plus 1 equals to 5 plus 1. That is x square plus 2x plus 1 equals to 6. Now step number 4 is use either the addition identity or the subtraction identity. Since all the signs between the terms are addition, that is why we would be using a plus b the whole square. Now agenda is to find what is a and what is b. It is very easy. Your a would be x and your b would be 1, because 1 ka square is 1. Okay, you can verify it by putting the values of a and b as x and 1 respectively. So here we complete the square and we get the resultant value as x plus 1 the whole square on the left hand side, and the right hand side remains as it is. Now last step is to take the square root. So taking square root, so your square and square root gets cancelled, and on the right hand side we get under root of plus and minus 6. So what we get is x plus 1 equals to root 6, or x plus 1 is equal to minus root 6, which implies that your x is equal to root 6 minus 1, or your x is equals to minus root 6 minus 1. And this is the solution for the given equation. So these were the two problems which we solved using the completing square method, which is a 5-step process, which includes the first step as dividing the equation with the coefficient of x square to make the coefficient of x square as 1. Then you're supposed to take the constant term which is there on the right hand side of the equation. You have to do a small calculation rough work mein, and whatever term you get, you're supposed to add on both the sides of the equation, which is your step number 3. एक बार वो add कर दिया, simplify कर दिया जो कुछ है वो, then you're supposed to see which of the two formulas out of a plus b the whole square and a minus b the whole square is applicable as per step number 4. And finally, you have completed the square. Now you're supposed to take the square root on both the sides to get the values for x. So with this, we come to the end of today's video. I hope you have understood the completing square method to solve quadratic equations. If you have any doubt, you can pin them down in the comment section. Thank you and see you soon in the next video.